Are you having your souk day tomorrow? Why?
Because of coronavirus.
There have been over 90,000 confirmed cases of people infected by the coronavirus, leading to the deaths of over 3,000 people. Now, the United Arab Emirates, my home, has confirmed 27 cases to date. Now, the government of the UAE has taken serious measures to be able to protect the residents and citizens of the UAE against the coronavirus. So how is the UAE fighting the coronavirus? We start today at Abu Dhabi International Airport. Now we're heading to the arrival gate where the plane lands and the passengers get off, and we're going to take you through the procedure of what happens when the passengers arrive. The scanning that they go through, the checks that they go through, and what happens during that entire process. Now we're in the Abu Dhabi Airport arrival hall, and right here is set up a thermal camera. And what this camera does is it indicates people who are coming that have a high temperature. I believe the temperature is above 37.5 or 38. They will show in that thermal camera as being red. So what happens if someone shows up on the thermal scanner as being hot or being red? They do a secondary check with this device, and that checks for the temperature through the ear, the one that you see in normal hospitals. Now, as you can see behind me are the designated areas for the secondary check. This is where the swab tests happen, where they test the back of the throat and in the nose to see if they're carrying the coronavirus. Now, if the tests come back positive, passengers are then transferred to a hospital within Abu Dhabi where they're given the treatment and care as set by the World Health Organization standards. Now, one of the things that I've been told is that they have increased the intensity of the cleaning. Now, what does that mean? Is in addition to the regular cleaning, they've introduced new products and antibiotics to ensure that things are completely wiped down and safe for passengers to relax and be comfortable and to sit down. So we have seen what it's like for people entering our country. Now, what does it look like from within our country? We're going to take a look at somewhere where a lot of people come together every single day. So if I think of a place in the United Arab Emirates where the most people come together on a daily basis, that is the Dubai Metro, that carries on average in a single day 650,000 passengers. So let's see what they're doing to ensure that the passengers are transported in a safe environment. Now, what's interesting that I've been told is most of the work in these situations happens behind the scenes. So it may not be obvious to passengers, but a lot of things are happening when it comes to staff training, when it comes to intensifying the cleaning process that all the staff take once they clean the trains, making sure all the ticketing areas and all the places that the public go through are constantly cleaned. So this is the train at the end of the track, and what you've seen is the two gentlemen at the end of every journey before the train gets these passengers again, is it gets cleaned down. All the areas that people would be touching get wiped down before they're sent back on the track to pick up passengers again. And this is important because this is in addition to the deep cleaning that happens to the train once it's not in service, and that is when a bigger team of cleaners come and cleans the whole train from inside and outside to ensure everything is clean and ready to be sent on the tracks tomorrow. So we have seen what's being done at the airports. We have taken a ride on the metro to see the precautions that are being taken there. But what is happening at our medical facilities? Let's find out. Now, the health institutions in the UAE are responding under directives set by the World Health Organization, ensuring the people here that they are ready and prepared to deal with the coronavirus. But what does that preparation look like? Today, we visit the Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi. So the nurse, or the caregiver as they're called in Cleveland Clinic, has identified me as being under investigation for carrying the symptoms of the coronavirus. And if I actually had these symptoms right now, this mask would stay on my face until I reached one of their treatment rooms. Now, I am here with Dr. Shafi Mohammed, the Director for Infection Control at Cleveland Clinic Abu Dhabi, to tell us more about what goes on. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Thank you.
Number one, Doctor, where are we?
The purpose of this room is basically to filter any contamination inside the room to make sure that individuals outside the room are at no risk of getting air that is contaminated.
All right, so I've been informed that once someone who has the symptoms comes to this room, they are allowed to take off the mask. So Dr. Shafi, I've been brought to this room. You've been informed that I'm now under investigation for having coronavirus. What do you do?
So now you are under personal investigation. So we're going to do some medical examination, which involves taking some samples from either your nasal, pharyngeal, and send them to the laboratory and do some other tests on you.
As the patient is waiting for the results from the lab, they are transferred to a secondary room, which is a much larger room. So whether you're under investigation, they don't wait for the lab results to come back to ensure that everything's being safe and they're taking all the precautions necessary. The patient is transferred to the second room. Let's see what it's like. Once you enter this room as a patient who's under investigation for coronavirus, this door does not open. Second, anyone who enters has to be wearing all this gear. So the N95 respirator, gloves, gown, and eye protection. And anyone who enters or leaves this room enters through here. Is this the only section that you have dedicated to quarantine?
No, we actually have many rooms that are dedicated for what we call isolation. We try to avoid using the word quarantine. Isolation, all it means is just trying to protect you and protect also our caregivers who are trying to look after you and provide you with the best care possible.
So Dr. Ahmed, the tests have come back and unfortunately the patient is positive for coronavirus. What happens next?
So essentially, really nothing changes for you as a patient or for us as a staff. We're still looking after you as any other patient. You know, we're monitoring you several times a day, you know, making sure your vital signs are stable, you're getting the right treatment, and so it's the usual care.
The patients come here, they've gotten the treatment, they've gotten the care. What indicators do you as a doctor look at to say, you've got a clean bill of health, you're good to go?
Yeah, correct. So we have a procedure in place which is in line with what the Department of Health instruct all providers in the Emirate of Abu Dhabi to do, which is we have to demonstrate that not only you have a clinically improved, meaning your fever has gone away, your lungs are, if you had a pneumonia, that had also resolved, you're not requiring oxygen, you don't have any nausea, vomiting, all those symptoms have subsided. And on top of that, we have to show in more than one occasion that we've tested you for the virus and we could not detect it. And then you would be clear to go back to the community. There will be the exceptions, people who get very sick, but for those patients, we are prepared. We have all the treatments and equipment and everything we need to give them the best care there is.
Dr. Ahmed, your CEO, Dr. Rakesh Suri, said, when asked about coronavirus, he said, don't be paranoid, we are prepared. How do you think the UAE and Cleveland Clinic are prepared to fight the coronavirus?
I think exactly what he said is very true. You've got to remember, this is not the very first threat of its kind. I mean, we've had before this viruses and other contagious illnesses just because we happen to be on the crossroad of, you know, all countries and parts of the world, and we're social, like this tourism hub, you know, in this area. So we get people with all kinds of infections, and so we've always planned for different scenarios. Like, what if we get this disease? Before this, we had the camel coronavirus. So we've learned our lessons from that. You know, we've had before that the swine flu or the influenza pandemic we had. You know, so all those helped us prepare for today, a day like today.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ahmed, for your time today and sharing the knowledge and giving us insight into this process. I think it demystified a lot, and it just brought a sense of reality to something that we don't know much about, and I hope it puts a lot of hearts at ease and lets us know that no matter what happens, that you're there to help. Last week, 215 people were flown from China to the United Arab Emirates for care and treatment at our humanitarian city. And the World Health Organization also used UAE military transport to send 7.5 tons of medical equipment to Iran to help them in fighting the coronavirus. And I want that to be the emphasis of the video today. A lot of people are using this current issue to create panic and to spread messages of racism and hatred throughout the world. What we have learned today is that we have been here before. So it's only a matter of time before we find a cure and move past this. So what's important is who we become as people because of this. And I only hope that this situation brings us closer together as humanity rather than tear us apart. Stay strong, everyone. Much love, and God bless you all.